So let's raise the big questions. Is the 2024 budget anti-middle class as Rahul Gandhi claimed? Should Rahul Gandhi have brought a caste angle into the budget debate as he did yesterday? Has Nirmala Sitharaman today addressed all the concerns raised by Rahul Gandhi and the opposition? Is the budget now a political battleground? Just some of the questions we'll raise. Joining me now are Sanju Verma, the BJP's national spokesperson, and Salman Soos, the Congress spokesperson, for my face-off tonight. Let me turn to you, Sanju Verma, first. Rahul Gandhi says the budget was anti-middle class. He cited the fact of the hike in long-term capital gains tax. He cited the indexation being removed, short-term capital gains tax being increased. He says that the middle class ke peet mein chura bhoka hai, to use his exact words. Your response, do you concede that some of these issues are troubling even BJP supporters among the middle class?
Rajdeep, I always endorse my facts with data and the strength of logic, and I will do exactly that today. I will not get swayed by the popular narrative that, oh, the budget is anti-middle class. It is not. If anything, in the last 10 years, the Narendra Modi government has done more for the middle class than any Congress regime did in the last 6 or 7 decades of post-independent India, and I will say why. Point number one, the basic tax exemption limit was just 2 lakh per annum under the Congress. That stands raised to 3 lakh per annum, which means till 3 lakh per annum, you pay 0 income tax. Earlier, if I was a person earning 7 lakh per annum, I had to pay, under the Congress regime in 2013-14, I had to pay 20% tax. Matlab, if I was earning 7 lakh per annum, I had to shell out 1,40,000 per annum as income tax alone. Today, if I'm earning 7 lakhs per annum, I need to shell out only 35,000 rupees as income tax because the tax rate stands at a lowly 5%. Most people say that the median income of the middle class is around 10 lakhs per annum. So very quickly, if you were earning 10 lakhs per annum under the Sonia Gandhi / Manmohan Singh regime in 2012-13, you had to shell out 30% tax annually, which means on an income of 10 lakh per annum, you had to shell out 3 lakh per annum as tax. And guess what, Rajdeep? Today, if I'm earning an annual income of 10 lakh per annum, I have to shell out only 1 lakh as tax because the tax on 30% now reduced is at about 10% when it comes to the 10 lakh income tax bracket. तो पहले आप 30% टैक्स देते थे 10 लाख सालाना इनकम पर, आज आप सालाना 10 लाख इनकम पर सिर्फ 10% टैक्स देते हैं. But the most important point is this. Let's be very clear. Do you know a fact? Who imposed the dividend distribution tax? It was the Congress. Who imposed the commodity transaction tax? It was the Congress. Who imposed retrospective taxation? It was the Congress. Who imposed angel tax? It was the Congress. Who imposed cash withdrawal tax? It was the Congress. And Rajdeep, who imposed the nefarious FBT, fringe benefit tax? It was the Congress. And your audience will be very happy to know that all these taxes impact some or the other tax slab within the middle class. Today,
okay, I've given you 2 minutes of uninterrupted time, ma'am. I've given you 2 minutes uninterrupted time. Your time is up. No, your time is up. Salman Soos, respond. Because when the Congress points out that the long-term capital gains tax has been increased, here you've got Sanju Verma pointing out several taxes, including angel tax, which was withdrawn finally by the government, was brought in by the Congress party. So when the Congress says the budget is anti-middle class, you've got to be more specific.
Well, first, Rajdeep, it's not just the opposition that is saying that this budget hurts the middle class. It is the government's own supporters. In fact, the government's own supporters, the ecosystem that the BJP created and was used to mercilessly troll the Congress party and opposition members and independent journalists, anybody who was not supporting the Modi government, that very ecosystem is now actually using the same kinds of language, very bad language, I must say, very bad language, against the Prime Minister, against the Finance Minister. So clearly they have some damage control to do. But Rajdeep,
no, be specific. Be specific. Tell me specifically what makes it anti-middle class.
Let me just get to that. Rajdeep, in New India, in Modi ji's New India, now personal income taxes are the highest category of taxes. The next one is GST. And the following one, the next one after that, is corporate taxes. Do you know, Rajdeep, that since 2019, corporate taxes have grown by 24%, while individual income taxes have grown by 76%. And do you know, Rajdeep, that during the same time, corporate profits have quadrupled, not doubled, not tripled, but quadrupled. That means corporations are banking their profits, not investing, not creating jobs, and all these big organizations are basically making a lot of money and dividing up through dividends, etc. Now, Rajdeep, the question is that the only thing? No, it's not. Then if you look at indirect taxation, let's look at fuel taxes, Rajdeep. Fuel taxes between 2014 to 15 to 2020.
Be patient, madam.
277% increase in fuel tax revenues, 277%. Now, Rajdeep, in this budget, what does the finance minister do? What happens to indexation benefits? Rajdeep, there are better ways to, if they wanted to do away with this, there was a great suggestion, by the way, by Andy Mukherjee, who is a columnist in Bloomberg, who said, if you had to do away with indexation benefits, which hurts a lot of people who own property, you could have actually said, we'll set the the time as, say, maybe 2018, 19, more recent years. Then you would see that those people who had bought property a long time back, with the idea that they might get indexation benefits, they would not be hurting right now. That is why people are upset. And then, of course, the long-term capital gains.
I gave you equal time, Mr. Sos. I gave you equal time. I also turn to Prasenjit Bose at this moment. Prasenjit Bose is a left economist. Prasenjit Bose, you've been a critic of this government. But interestingly, this time the government is being accused of being anti-middle class. Not anti-poor, but anti-middle class. Your response?
I think this government is both anti-poor and anti-middle class. The only class that seems to be benefiting from this government is the very top 0.001% of Indian society, which academics associated with the Inequality Lab, World Inequality Lab, has very clearly pointed out. I think that there are
give me an example why you say that. Give me an example when you say something as stated. Give me an example why you say only the 0.001 have been benefited and no one else. Be specific.
Yes, because I think some of it has already been quite succinctly put by the Congress spokesperson. You have a government. The BJP spokesperson was talking about all kinds of taxes, which it seems apparently Congress had done, but she failed to mention that the biggest corporate tax cut came under this government before the COVID, because of which today corporate taxes have come down to around just contributing 26% to the gross tax revenue, whereas personal income taxes have almost touched 30%.
But Prasanji, that was 2019. I am asking you, what is it in the 2024 budget that according to you makes it anti-middle class and poor?
It continues with the same strategy by levying the kind of taxes, by removing the indexation benefit. Who will suffer because of that? The people, middle class people who want to sell their old houses. They will suffer.
This is unfair.
But no, hang on, madam. Fair, unfair. You hear the argument first.
No, put her voice down. Let him finish. I'll come to you, ma'am.
Please don't interrupt me.
Please go ahead.
Don't interrupt me. I also heard you. So the point is that the removal of indexation benefit and the kind of concessions which the finance minister claimed in terms of the middle class, she has taken away with one hand what she has given in terms of those standard reduction in salaried people. If you look at the budget income tax projections, they are once again in this budget for the forthcoming year, this financial year, the income taxes are going to grow. The government itself is projecting its growth to be much higher than corporate.
Okay, so you're saying the tax raises is what makes you believe that this is anti-middle class, especially the removal of indexation.
There are two more issues, Rajdeep.
No,
very quickly.
Inflation hurts everybody.
Yes.
This budget mentions the word inflation only once. That too in the context of global scenario.
What's your
Look
second
at
point?
what food inflation is today, where fuel prices are today. This hurts the middle class. This certainly hurts the middle class. However you define the middle class, you can
Okay.
define the middle class in terms of income, in terms of education level, in terms of
Prasenjit
employment.
Bose, I must allow Sanju Verma to respond because both of you have attacked her. Sanju Verma, now respond, because the fact is indexation in particular is an issue which, whether you like it or not, is troubling many people within the middle class, that the property investments they made over the last 23 years could well cost them. Is there any, don't you think it is useful to even consider a rollback or some kind of a dilution or review?
You know, Rajdeep, first and foremost, very humbly, I want to say this. It's a debate. Where there are two people against the BJP, I don't care if you get 20 persons against Sanju Verma. I can take each one of them on the back of my logic. But please don't say this, put her fader down, shut her down. I mean, you are a senior seasoned journalist. I expect you to do better.
I expect
please
people
don't show
to...
so much of
No,
intolerance.
if they intervene with you, I will shut their fader down
so
also.
Much of intolerance.
Madam,
please don't be so intolerant.
I am not intolerant at all.
Do not be
Please
intolerant.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Do not be intolerant. I do not want to hear this very embarrassing statement. Put her fader down. Put her speaker down. ये क्या तरीका है?
नहीं, मेरे प्रोग्राम में कोई क्रॉस टॉक पे होगा. अगर वो भी करे, उनको भी मैं करूंगा वो. Please go ahead. I have limited time. You are wasting your own time, ma'am. Please go ahead.
I'm wasting time now. Don't heckle me.
Please go ahead.
You always get a lopsided panel. I don't care whether you get 30 people or 40 people against
You see
Sanju Verma.
Madam,
now
please.
let me speak.
Yeah.
Let me speak now.
Please go ahead.
What has the Modi government done for the middle class? Now I don't want interruptions because you don't like interruptions. I don't like them either. When there are more than 40 crore loans that have been processed under Mudra Yojana, with 76% of those loans being given to Dalits and tribals and OBC women, किसका फायदा है? Middle class का. When more than 53 crore Jan Dhan bank accounts are open, with 82% of those belonging to poor women, किसका फायदा है? Lower middle class का. More than 142,000 startups, with 45% of those startups having at least one woman director on their board. किसका फायदा है? Middle class का, खासकर महिलाओं का. National Livelihood Mission, Atal Mission, Sukanya Samriddhi Mission, Pradhan Mantri Van Vikas Yojana. In all of these programs, more than 78% of the beneficiaries are women. किसका फायदा हुआ? Middle class women का. Now let me say one very important thing. Long-term capital gains के ऊपर 10% से 12.5% हाइक हुआ. लोगों ने हाहाकार मचा दिया. But the same people do not want to give credit to Narendra Modi for the fact that पहले आप 2 लाख पर एनम पर भी टैक्स पे करते थे, अभी 3 लाख पर भी जीरो टैक्स है. पहले 7 लाख पर एनम पर आप 20% टैक्स पे करते थे, आज आप 5% पे करते हैं. पहले आप 10 लाख पर एनम इनकम पर 30% टैक्स पे करते थे, आज आप सिर्फ 10%.
Okay, your 2 minutes are up. Your 2 minutes are up, ma'am. Exact time.
Can I get my final argument?
Yeah, please do.
Please. You have 2 people against me. I need at least 45 seconds more.
Yes, go ahead.
There is always a concept in economics, Rajdeep, which is the concept of hidden taxation. They say nothing breaks the back of the middle class more than high lending rates. And I have carried out some data from the RBI archives. This is not Sanju Verma's data off her hat. In 2012-13, the average lending rate for a home loan, for a car loan, for a credit card loan, for a vehicle loan was 15.5%. मतलब यदि Rajdeep Sardesai takes a loan of 10 lakh rupees in 2013, he would have had to shell out 1,55,000 rupees as salana interest. Today, the interest on personal loan, vehicle loan, etc. is down to a measly 8.5%, which means today if Rajdeep Sardesai buys a car or buys a home for say 10 lakh rupees, he has to shell out yearly interest of only 85,000 rupees.
Okay.
You
made the point.
85,000.
Okay, you made the point. Again, I allowed you uninterrupted. No one interrupted you. Please, no, please put her down. Ma'am, I've given you equal time. Salman shows your response to that. You see, Rahul Gandhi says budget is anti-OBC, budget is anti-Dalit, budget is anti-Adivasi. These are all generic statements to make. You have to give specifics. Sanju Verma, at least today, is giving specifics when she says that look at the various other benefits she claims the Modi government has given through various schemes that she says eventually, like the Mudra Yojana, for example, that benefit maybe young middle class entrepreneurs.
Rajdeep, first of all, I think we should remember, and I remember it very clearly, that when I used to defend the UPA's policy, I would routinely be in TV debates where there would be 4 people against me, and including the anchor of most television channels. So she should not be crying on national television today, talking about 2 people against 1. The second thing I want to remind you, Rajdeep, and you remember this, and I remember this, and I know most people who voted for the Achhe Din Sarkar was Mr. Arun Jaitley in 2013 and 14, before the elections, talking about how the income tax slab was needed to be increased to 5 lakh rupees, etc. And now, after all these years, after Arun Jaitley ji has passed away, they raised it to 3 lakh rupees, and they're saying, oh, humne kitna tufan kar diya Hindustan ke logon ke liye. They should be ashamed. They should be ashamed for taking credit for something which is far less than what Arun Jaitley promised in 2014. One more thing, Rajdeep. What about, they talk about all the benefits. What about 16 lakh crores of loans written off? Who did they go to? Did they go to those write-offs? Were they for the middle class? Were they for the poor people of this country? They were not. Rajiv, so all of this, by the way, inflation that Prasanji talked about, inflation, especially food price inflation, in June, just last June, the reading was 9% average. Dal, pulses, 16%. And vegetables, 30%. Last year, food price inflation on average was about 7 to 8%. Food prices affect the middle class and the poor disproportionately.
Yes, I take your point, but as a fact check, if I look at inflation numbers in your last term, they were uniformly higher than they were during. So let's not. You see the point. No, madam, please allow me to anchor.
No, Rajdeep, that is wrong. Let me tell you why it is wrong. Because then you have to provide context. The context is that global crude prices were extremely high during Manmohan Singh ji's time.
Fair point.
That's
also a fair point.
That is huge inflation.
That's also a fair point that global fuel prices were higher, and therefore that had an inflationary spike. Prasanjit Bose, to conclude. Yes. Prasanjit Bose, to conclude, do you believe that this entire budget, this entire debate that the budget is anti-middle class, doesn't take into account the fact that the middle class has also, over the years, actually got a lot of benefits? It's actually the people at the bottom of the pyramid who've suffered the most in the last 5-7 years.
Well, it will depend upon how you are defining the middle class, Rajdeep. I think that let us not forget that these BJP spokespersons came in program after program, even in your channel, and claimed that, tax returns have grown to 8 crore and so on. The fact remains that only slightly over 2 crore people are paying income tax in India. That is the latest figure. Higher income tax returns does not lead to higher income tax. So that is the country that we live in. Only 2 crore out of 140 crore people are paying income tax, which is above that threshold which the BJP spokesperson was mentioning. I think the fact remains that it is not only anti-middle class. I think that is overblown. And I think that there's some good measures. I am not against the raising of the short-term capital gains tax. But the basic problem, you see, the BJP spokesperson could not refute the basic argument which both the Congress spokesperson and I had made. That why is it the case that the income taxpayers are paying more, which is the middle class, as I think, that is what we are discussing. Whereas the corporates are paying less. They are not refuting that argument. They are saying we have given mudra loans, this, that, whatever. You see, another fact I want to bring to your
I've
notice.
got 30 seconds.
That
30
they are
seconds.
giving loans and loans and loans. What is happening is that the middle class, their incomes, their employment is not increasing, their income is not increasing, their indebtedness is increasing. So you are making the middle class more and more
No, this is
indebted.
unfair.
Okay.
I need to rebut this.
Okay, in the interest of fairness, I must. There will be no. Madam, unfortunately, today has been a day when we've had to focus extensively on Wayanad. There's been a tragedy. More than 100 people have died. That took a lot of the time at the top of the show, so we had limit. No, ma'am, I'm sorry. We'll carry forward. We'll have you again on the show. You're not going anywhere, nor am I. Sanju Verma, Salman Soos, Prasenjit Bose on that debate on the entire issue of the urban middle class and benefits. We must leave it there. I wish we could have also addressed the issue of caste and the budget, which Rahul Gandhi raised. We'll do that on another day.